I'm sorry, y'all. I forgot to delete some videos that I had already put up. But what I was saying, so when our nobles come back into nobility and become the kings and queens that they were, then all the sheep, the people that fall under, will fall in line. That's the way things are. That's the natural way of the world. You have rulers and you have sheep. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell because look at the people. Look at it now, right? Look at the ones of us that have come out of the system, right? That says, nah, this shit ain't right. Hold on. They did us dirty. You know what I'm saying? We received the Spirit. The Most High, He poured His Spirit out on us, and we received it. We said, okay. Oh, you right. I knew it was something wrong. I knew I couldn't fit in with everybody for a reason. I knew that I was, like, they used to call me a weirdo. Now I know why I'm a weirdo. Because I'm not one of y'all. I'm not y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I used to want to be with the end people. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. You know, and to a point I was, but I had to do stuff that was outside of my character to be around those type of people, to be with those people. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, you got to understand this. When it comes to stuff like that, right? Every neighborhood is different. You got some neighborhoods where being in is being in a gang and murdering people. And then you got some people where it's being in is when, you know, all the girls like you. You got all the nice clothes. You on the corner. You hustling. You know, you making money. You know what I'm saying? You up there drawing. You know, making, cussing, and doing whatever you do. You know what I mean? Being a weirdo, a jerk. And those were the people. They were the end dudes, right? So I remember when I was young, right? So when I was a young guy, and I'm gonna tell y'all something about me. I used to get teased about this, and I didn't care. I really didn't care because it just wasn't important to me. So when I was young, right, I could not dress at all. I was like, you know, somewhere else. I was a mess. So I was 12 years old, and I had a pair of dress shoes on with tube socks and some sweatpants. And I had a ponytail in the back of my head. You know what I'm saying? And I used to get teased. Even my sisters, everybody would tease me. My brother-in-law, to this day, still brings it up. Remember when you had those? And he is the one that dressed me. Literally. My brother-in-law gave me sweatsuits, sneakers, and everything. Because at that time, my mom could not afford that type of stuff. And I didn't give a damn. I just didn't care. Because it wasn't important to me. You know what was important to me? Seeing how stuff worked. That was important to me. I wanted to know how everything worked. Like, I remember when it rained across the street and it didn't rain on the other side. Do you know how long I sat outside trying to figure out why that happened? That was what was important to me. That's what I found interesting. I didn't find putting on clothes and getting dressed, you know, and doing this and doing that. I didn't find that stuff interesting. I didn't. It wasn't important, you know. But what happened is, once you get older, right? Once you start getting older and you're around something for a long time, it starts to rub off on you. You start to pick it up, right? So I was still weird. You know, I was really smart. You know what I'm saying? I could fix anything. You know what I mean? And take apart everything, you know? So, like, my first car, I put my own car together. I bought a Honda Accord, a little mini wagon. It was like a little van looking type of thing. Real little white one. It was a stick shift. And it needed a transfer. I think it was either a transfer case, a gearbox, something like that, and a clutch. And I sat there. And back then, we didn't have computers. Well, we had computers, but they wasn't worth nothing. But we didn't have what we have now. We didn't have a cell phone you can go in and look up stuff. You had to go buy a book from Pep Boys or one of those places. That's how it was back then. Like, you had to read, or you just had to have some skills. So you know what Mr. Rob did? Mr. Rob got his little behind on the ground. He went and got him some tools from, you know, or whatever, you know. I got tools from wherever I can get them from, and I took that car apart. And I sat there and I cataloged every piece and drew a schematic of everything I took off that car until I got to the transmission, which I had common sense and knew that the transmission was here and, you know, and the motor was there. I wasn't dumb. So, but I took that car apart. And when I got to the part that I needed, the two parts I needed to replace, I replaced them and I put them in the way they were, and I put that car back together. I tuned that car up. I changed the oil. I changed the gear oil. I changed everything in that car that I thought could make it run better. And that was the first time I ever worked on a car. Ever. And I remember the guy that he was an FBI analyst. That's what he was, a black guy. He lived in the neighborhood. He was an FBI analyst. What was his name? Oh God, what was his name? It was Erica. No, it was Rashida Dad, the girl we used to call her Black, because she was dark. And it was her dad. Man, what was her dad's name? I can't remember his name. A little short guy had glasses. And you know what he told me? He said, yo, you are crazy smart. He said, you a damn genius. That's what he told me. He told me that they would take me in the FBI in a heartbeat if they knew that I can do what I'm doing, right? Which I didn't want to be in nobody's type of junk. I didn't want to be in none of that stuff, right? But I took that car apart and put it back together. And then guess what I did after that? I learned how to drive a stick off of that car. I had no tags. I had no license. I had nothing. I was 15 years old. 15 years old, y'all. No, 14, I'm sorry. 14 years old. And that's what I did. And if anybody know me, anybody remember me from down the bottom on 36 and Miller, they'll tell you that little white wagon that sat right on the corner by Sam's, the corner store called Sam's, to me is Dad's store. And I took that car apart and put that car back together. Right there. Right there on that corner. They'll tell you that. Yeah. And then after I fixed the car, I sold the car. Yeah. And then I started doing car audio and stuff like that. I just started doing what I enjoyed doing, which was tinkering with stuff. I used to make stuff and everything. Everybody tell you that. Everybody tell you that. They used to call me the mad scientist. You know what I mean? But I was a weirdo for a long time. And then as I got older, you know, I got interested in girls and stuff, and I realized that I can't get girls without nice clothes. I can't get girls without money. I can't get girls, you know what I mean, you know, without, well, I wasn't never no punk, but you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's just certain things I couldn't get girls with it. So now I'm in the stage of females, so I had to do what I had to do to be attractive to females. I mean, I was cute. Like, you know, my son mom told me, my first son mom, I got 3 kids mom. Look, she told me this, and I was so shocked. I could not believe she said this to me. She told me, she said, when me and her started talking, she said all the girls in the neighborhood that was, you know, in her age, our age bracket, told her, how in the hell did you get him? Said I was the best looking guy in the neighborhood. I was the one guy that all the girls wanted, right? Especially when I started dressing myself up and, you know, looking, you know what I mean, looking the way everybody else looked. That's what she told me that. And I said, really? I said, I didn't know that. I said, I was the best looking guy down there. And she was like, what? She said, boy, you had them muscles. And, you know, I used to work out and stuff. Like, I really, like, so, like, with me, okay. So, if I decide I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So, once I realized that, you know, I got to do this to get girls, I started working out, you know what I mean? I started doing what I had to do. And, you know, I got my little muscles up and everything, and you know, and plus I had went up in Slate Farms for a while, so I was, you know, doing that because at one point I wasn't going to school because when I started realizing that you can't get girls without no nice clothes and stuff and not dress a certain way, I started wanting, girls. So so when I was in school, I used to have to fight all the time because the way I dressed. My mom couldn't afford the stuff, so I had to wear what I had to wear, and I used to get in fights all the time. So I'm not mad at my mother because of that. It is what it is. My mom did what she could. And why would I fault her for being a mother and trying her best to do what she had to do? My mom had 7 kids. My dad was dead. Well, the one that raised me, he was dead. The one that donated his sperm. I just found out that something happened between him and my mom, and she, kept us away from him and his family. I don't know what happened. Never got a chance to ask her. Never got a chance to ask him. They both gone, But I never looked at my mom in a horrible way or upset with her because she could not afford to buy me certain. Come on now, chill. You can't be running stop signs like people trying to get by too. So, I never got mad at my mom because she couldn't afford to buy certain things. All right, well, I never understood how people could even do that to their mother. Y'all see how bad this traffic is? Look at this. This is ridiculous, y'all. It's all over. So, with that being said, this whole neighborhood backed up. So, with that being said, y'all, I did what I had to do. And when I started doing what I had to do, I did it. And I said in several videos before, I got in the streets. I started hustling. And I started making money. And guess what I started doing? Helping my mom out with the bills. I started giving her money. You know what I'm saying? That's what I started doing. Because I saw my mom struggling. And when I was younger, when we was in South Philly, because that's originally where I was from, what did me and my friends do? We would go carry bags. We would sweep and shovel in front of people's doors. We would go Christmas caroling. We would pump gas. We would do anything to make money. My friends would keep the money and go buy a bunch of junk. I would not. I would go and I would bring the money to my mom and keep $10. And there's times I made $200-300 in a day doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing I had over my friends that they didn't have, and I kept telling them, I was very polite. And I lived during that time in South Philly, down what they call Fifth Street, the Fifth Street Projects, the Pound. And we used to live right near Queens Village. Queens Village was not too far. So you had all these rich white people. So we would go up there and I would ask them in the most polite way, ma'am, mister, may I sweep in front of your door or take out your trash to earn some money to get something to eat tonight? I would play on their emotions. You don't have no food at home? No. My mom is this and she can't work and my dad's dead. So this is the stuff we used to do. But my friends would come into these people's door, and it got to the point where it was me, Tony, and Gary. And it got to the point where I would go to the door and talk, because they would come and say, hey, can we sweep in front of your door? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how these people are rude. So, I would get us the jobs. You know what I mean? But and that's because the way my mom and dad raised us. Like, we was raised with the yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. It was, oh man, please. Say no in my house when my dad was alive and see what happened to your face. You be picking that joint off the wall. You be scraping that joint right off the wall. I'm trying to tell you. And that man was huge. That was a big dude, man. 6'8". That man was 6'8". He used to pick me up by my face. Put his hand over my face and pick me up. So, no, I ain't play with him. No. I wasn't scared of him. I just ain't play with him. You know what I'm saying? It was a respect thing. So, so I was, and then we, on the weekends, right? We had to read encyclopedias. Like, he would make us read 5 pages of the encyclopedia, write it down, and write down what it means every weekend. So I remember when my aunt and my uncle, my Aunt Reese and my Uncle Thomas came down, when my cousin Gabe and them, they came down one weekend. And this is when we lived at 1012 South 3rd Street. And my aunt and them talked my dad into letting us outside. And I remember the girl, Lila and Sophia. They used to sit on the hill, the ramp. And Lila always be eating seeds, spitting them out in big ass puddles of spit and seed shells. Disgusting. They was always outside with Lila, Sophia, and I think Bill Frisbee. Bill Frisbee. They would all and Tamika used to live there. My cousin Tamika used to live right next to the ramp. So when we came outside, they teased us. They sung a song. For the first time in history. This is what they sung. So we ran in the house and, told, my aunt, because you tell my dad gonna say, well, bring your ass in the house. That's what my dad would say, right? So we go in there, we tell my aunt. So my aunt said, all right, y'all got y'all reading them books, right? Yeah, all right, go out there, ask them what that word, one of them words y'all know mean. So I remember I used to love the word befuddled. So, and I ran back outside and I said, my aunt asked me to ask y'all what the word befuddled means. And what? They didn't know what I was saying, right? And so when they didn't know, I ran back and I said, they didn't know. She said, now go back out there and tell them that's what we was in the house doing. So when we came back out and we said that to her, right? And it was actually Miss Juanita, was it Lillian? It was either Miss Juanita or Miss Lillian. It was one of them standing there. And they was asking Miss Lillian what it meant. I think it was Miss Lillian. And she didn't know. And when I came out and I said, that's what we was in the house. That's what we've been in the house doing. And so Miss Lillian said, doing what? We said, studying. Our dad has us studying. This is how we know what these words mean, right? And she was like, oh, okay. And they was mad because they didn't know none of the stuff we knew. You know what I mean? And until this day, like a lot of that stuff, it might not have been fun to me, but to this day, I can do things that other people can't, because of what my dad, had us doing. You know what I'm saying? So, and I mean, we used to have some chores, y'all, washing the walls and oh my gosh. But yeah, we used to have some chores. We used to have to wax the floors and everything, yo. Like that man was really like a military nightmare. But listen, all in all, right? All in all, even when he passed away and things changed and my mom was going to school, she was working and everything because my mom was going to school to become an RN, right? When she was doing all that and she could not afford to get the things that everybody else had, we never got upset with my mom and say, that's crazy how you just can't. We never did that. We always tried to help and you know what I mean, and make sure that whatever I'm talking about as far as me and my brother, whatever we made, that it took some